Hey, party people. Welcome back to another tie-dye. Today, I think what I'm going to try is a double spiral pattern. Haven't tried this one yet, but we should be able to do it. We have a white t-shirt ready to go, brand new. So it has been washed to remove any chemicals and then dried. And then this has been soaked in soda ash solution for 30 minutes. You can do 20 minutes or longer. It doesn't really matter as long as this has soda ash throughout the garment. That helps the dyes that we're using react with the fibers, and it makes really bright colors. If you want really bright colors, use Procion dyes and make sure that you've soaked your shirt in soda ash. I've then wrung it out and put it through a spin cycle, so it's only slightly damp right now. And with spiral designs, I don't have to worry about symmetry, so we don't have to fold the shirt in half for this one. What I'm trying to do is just lay it out really flat on my countertop. And I have two sets of locking pliers or tweezers. They have the ability to hold something really tight. I found that these work really great for spiral designs. So I have two sets ready to go, and we're going to try a double spiral on this shirt. One will hopefully go one way and the other one will go the other way. And then once it's all tied up, we'll add some interesting colors to it. So this is relatively easy. If you want to level up your tie-dye game, you could move to a spiral dye. We can start to get an idea of how we want it to look. Don't want them too low. You could have one on the side if you want it, or one up here, but I like to have them kind of centered on the shirt, so or like centered on the front of the shirt. So I might do one here and another one down here. I'm using a washable marker, by the way. These little dots will wash out after we've dyed and rinsed our shirt. So getting started, I will use one of these, and I'm going to try to grab both sides of the shirt, so front and back at the same time. You'll have the same spiral pattern on both. So I pinch one on there, and you'll see as I start to twist this, it starts to fold itself. It gets nice pleats, and then you can just use your fingers to straighten these out as you go. Your shirt will start to move, take form, create these spirals, and then you can just help it with these pleats. So I will do that now. Now, before I get too far, oh, this is neat. It kind of holds itself up. I'm going to actually, because my pleats are starting to reach into my other spiral here, these ones are curved. They're not as handy for tie-dyeing, but they should work here. I'm also going to pinch this other dot, lock it on there, and I'm going to start, I'll spiral the other way on this one. If any of your pleats start to climb too high, if you notice that they're getting kind of big, you can just knock them down using your fingers, make them into two pleats that will be lower, and then pull up ones that are closer to the surface here. What you want is a lot of texture. You want lots up and lots down. You want a lot of creases and folds in there that are all following that spiral pattern. This one here is getting a little bit tall. I'm going to break it down a little bit. Open it up. Break it into two pleats, make them smaller. Now my two spirals are getting closer together, so we're going to have to start to get fancy with how they form into the rest of the shirt. Obviously we want these folds to continue to come. On the final design, these folds are going to morph from one spiral into the next spiral. So we'll have to start moving the shirt around the spirals here to keep this same form. On a single spiral shirt, you can just keep winding and pleats will form across the shirt. But what I'm discovering with the double spiral is that I'm kind of running into the situations where we get lots of parts of the shirt that aren't just following naturally. So I'm going to help them a little bit, making my own ridges, pleats, folds in here so that they're going to get lots of detail. So you want those to be up and down and up and down. So you can do some accordion type folds. And then when they all bunch together, you'll get some patterns that will follow the spiral and have their own flow. So I'm just going to use my fingers and I'm going to make little folds all the way down the sleeve here, gathering these up, some down. And these accordion type folds will add some dimension to your shirt. Each fold is going to have some difference in its dyes. Same thing over on this side. This is too flat here. What I'd like to do is make this into a whole bunch of nice little pleats. And just so I don't lose any of these as I go, I'm going to throw an elastic around these parts. And now I'm just going to add a whole bunch more elastics. These will help hold everything together nice and tight. I've got a bunch here, so I'm just going to start putting them on at different angles, keeping everything nice and tight and flat. Again, when you dye, you will have the top side and then you'll have the reverse side of your dyeing pattern. And you want those peaks and valleys to kind of hit both the top and the bottom. At this point, I can remove my pliers, loosen them up, bring them out, because they're kind of getting in the way. We have our spiral patterns, one there, one there. We should be able to see those when we dye as well. You can see I have quite a few elastics on here. That's all right. It holds everything tight. I can flip it over. I can see the same design on the other side. So we have our spirals right there, and they transfer through there and there. The rest of the shirt has nice pleats and folds, so this should be an interesting dye. I'll see you at the dyeing table. All right, we are ready to dye our double spiral design. So I like to always get my bearings when I lay this out, and I can see our two spirals right here and right these two locations. This one, because I'd like to get fairly intricate in the middle there, I have a special treat in store for us. You can grab these pipettes on Amazon or Temu or AliExpress or somewhere, and they're great for getting fairly detailed work if you don't have those squeeze bottles with the surgical needles on the end. So I use those and then some little cups to put some dye in. When I get into these areas here, I'm going to be using these. What I'd like to do is work out from the center of these spirals in a similar pattern. I have 5 dyes to use today. I have hot pink, turquoise, marine violet, lilac, and ice blue. These are all kind of varieties of purple, and then the hot pink obviously for some pop. So I'm going to start by filling up some of these small bottles with the dye that I want to use. And I'm going to place the bottle beside the dye so that I know which one's which. Otherwise, I might get mixed up. This will be much better for those very fine, detailed areas. So to get started, I'd like to use the hot pink, and I'm going to go right into the center of each spiral and then start to make little fan shapes out from the center. We'll use some ice blue around these sections. Ice blue is like a purple, a light pastel purple with a little bit of blue. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to repeat these same colors while I remember them on the opposite side. Now I'll move on to turquoise. Okay, and as we finish up with our dyeing, I want to make sure that most areas are covered and saturated so that we don't have much white on this shirt, but that these colors start to play together. I've tried to match up all of the pattern from one side to the other. I tried to radiate or pull from the center of the spirals outwards so that when we unravel it, you should see a nice big swirl, or two big swirls in this case. So we're just about done here. At this point, I put it in a bag to keep the moisture in, and then I put it in a warm area of my house and let it sit for 24 hours. After 24 hours, I can start the rinse. Rinse cold water and then gently raise the temperature of the water till it's warm, and then finally wash it out. I use Blue Dawn soap, a couple drops of that to do the first wash, and then I will fully wash and dry this shirt. And stay tuned for the unveil.